Well, Spence, what did you see out of Divine over the weekend, and where have you seen him grow the most this year?
Yeah, it was just really cool to see him step up, and he's been working his tail off. Coach Miley's done a great job with him, and seeing him keep working, obviously not playing as much when Scotty's in there, but seeing him keep working, and last week obviously challenged him with being able to start the game and talking about the standard with which we play with, and him going out there and doing what he did, and obviously still a lot of growth from him. But he's a very talented player. He's got a great skill set. Then it's just him doing that consistently from practice to the game. And so seeing him do that on Saturday night was awesome to see. He deserves it.
He looks more explosive this year. He said after the game that he's lost a few pounds. Was that something he did on his own, or something you guys as a staff talked to him about?
Yeah, it's all about, for us, from a weight standpoint for our players, is, okay, what is the, obviously, at some point you need a weight to be able to play the position, but then what is the ideal weight for that individual? What can they play fast at? What can they be very explosive at? And so Coach Kagan and his staff did a great job with Divine from transforming his body to where he is very explosive. He can move, he can strike, and finding that right weight for him to where he can also play multiple plays and not get gassed too early. And so it's been cool to see him grow, and obviously he had a really good summer, and it's obviously paying off for him.
What can you tell us about his demeanor, his attitude? I mean, on the field, like, he looked like he was having a good time. We talked to him after the game. He could have been more relaxed, almost like lackadaisical, and when he was talking to us.
Yeah, I mean, Divine's a very chill guy, laid back, always smiling. He's a guy that our players love to be around. He's part of the crew. He's that guy. He's always has a just has a good vibe about himself, and like I say, he's one of the favorite guys in the locker room for our players to be around. And he is that guy that is just him doing consistently, but he can, when he goes in the field, obviously flip that switch to where he can play very relentlessly. It's just for like any player, it's doing that consistently. And seeing him do that on Saturday, obviously still a lot of things even from him in the game to grow in, but it was just awesome for him, knowing the work he's put in, knowing obviously I recruited him from junior college, seeing him come here and continue to grow year after year and be able to step up in a big way for our team was awesome to see. And so it's just, he was all smiles at the game, and he deserves it. He worked his tail off, and we challenged him that week that what was going to be needed of him, and he stepped up.
We saw, I mean, last week was tough for your edge position. You lose one guy, I guess another. Cortez Hogan's, though, stepped up big time. And what did you think of his performance? And were there other guys that you were excited to see how they performed on the field? Yeah,
no doubt. Cortez, just name one, and same thing. Obviously, he got banged up early on, and so he's been able to work his way back off the injury report and get himself into some playing time and get on the field. And obviously, had his first start on Saturday night, and so it's cool seeing him step up, especially with the guys we lost in a week's time, and especially the shots that we took to the front. Seeing those guys step up and play with the standard which we want to play with here at Boise State, and doing it with a certain mentality was awesome. And they knew that, they prepared like that, and they've been preparing like that for a while. It's not one of those things like all of a sudden, oh shoot, now I'm going to start, so it's time to actually work hard. These guys have been working hard, they've been putting the time in. Obviously they just haven't had the opportunity to put it on film and put it on the big stage. And so when you work in the dark, at some point that's going to come to the light, and that's something we always want to breathe into our players, that maybe just because you're not playing now, if you want to be ready for that moment when it comes, you better be working in the dark, because when your moment comes, you got to be ready for it. And seeing those guys do that, and then seeing it translate to Saturday night, just as a coach who loves these guys dearly, it gave my heart a lot of joy. And then also on the flip side, being able to show them, hey, this is what you did. Now this is where we take the next step. And that's obviously the big thing for us this week.
I don't know if you would have moved over to the other side or not with George going down, but it just seems like odd timing for Isaiah Bandy to transfer. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, love Isaiah, wish him the best wherever he goes, and like I said, that's really about all I can say to BJ. I love Isaiah, wish he was here. I'll always care about him if he ever needs anything from me, and I will always do anything I can to take care of him, because I love the kid. Love him dearly and wish him the best. Obviously still wish he was here, but just like anything, the guys that are in this building that want to be here, those are the guys we're going to coach, and those are the guys we're going to keep moving forward with.
Going back to Cortez real quick, what's it like to see a JC guy get to experience that for the first time?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome to see, especially like a Cortez. And I was joking with him after the game. I remember sitting in his house, talking with his family about those moments on the blue, working his tail off to get in the game, to make those plays in front of Boise Nation, and seeing him do it, seeing him be able to do that in that stage. It just brings you a ton of joy. I mean, that's why we do what we do, and then relating it always to the work that puts in to get there. He got here in January. It's a whole new culture, all new things that he's got to get ready for. And seeing him just continually work get banged up in fall camp, have to recover, have to heal up, and then you never know when your card's going to get pulled. And then all of a sudden, guys go down, stuff happens at the edge position. Here you go. We need you. It's time to go. And you can't just click your heels and be ready to play at the standard with which we want them to play with. You have to be working that consistently. It was cool to see him do that. And then, like I said, it's great when you can do that and still have a lot that we can grow in and clean up. To where you can leave a game where we did some good stuff, but still like, hey guys, this needs to improve, this needs to improve. And especially for those guys individually, they can take the good, but also, hey guys, this is where we need to take a big step.
What do you make? What's the first thing you think of when you think Boise State BYU?
It's always a big time. It's just a big time game. I mean, it's a game that I know our players look forward to because it's just that matchup. I don't know if I want to use the term rivalry or not, but every single year, if they're playing here or we're playing at their place, it's a game that we're very excited for. We obviously have a ton of respect for what they do, ton of respect for their players, their coaching staff, and we know they're going to be ready, and we're going to work our tails off for us to be ready. But every year we know it's going to be an absolute battle. You look over the years, even this will be the 6th time I've played them, and every year it's an absolute battle, and every year they're ready to go and we're ready to go, and it's going to be an absolute dogfight.
Is there a player that comes to mind? Was David Moa or with the block kick, or maybe there's some guys before you? But is there any moments or plays or players that think?
Oh, man, every year there's certain plays that's stand out to you. In 2018 we were able to get the stand on the goal line. With seconds expiring. In 2019, they hit a couple trick plays on us in the low red zone to win the game, and they did a great job finishing that game out at home. And then in 2020, they absolutely just kicked the dog out of us on the blue. And so there's those different moments that obviously we were able to get the victory last year at their place. So it's that type of a matchup where they've got very talented players across the board. They're very well coached. They're well trained. They're tough. They're physical. And we're working our tails off to do that week in and week out too. And so meeting that type of a team, especially being able to play them at home. And when we recruit guys, it's like you recruit guys to work their tail off to win these games that we're going to play in Saturday night. And so it's a huge game for us. We know they're going to be ready. They're a very talented, well-coached crew. And we know it's going to be a huge task across the board in all 3 phases. But we're going to be ready.
What are your thoughts on this being the last time you're going to face them on an annual basis for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, it's honestly hasn't even sunk in yet. To the thought of Boise State not playing BYU, obviously since I've been here, we've always played them. So haven't even been able to think about it long enough to think about it. But obviously it is a big time game, especially how close they are in geographical location, and there is a lot of rivalry just because of that. And then obviously a lot of our players know their players, and so not playing them is something that. I don't know. I know it's a game that we love playing in because you come to college to play in these games. You come to Boise State, BYU to be able to play and coach in these big games. And so it's definitely a team that we're excited to play this weekend. And I hope in years to come that we can find a way to at least be able to play them as the years go through.
Spencer, Taylor Green, Offensive Player of the Week in the league and Freshman of the Week. I know you're on the defensive side of the ball, but he's kind of morphing into like the face of this program.
Yep.
And I think if everything works out, he will be the face of this program. What do you see as the defensive coordinator, him in the building, kind of accepting, seems like all this stuff that's going to be thrown in his direction? What impresses you about Taylor?
Man, Taylor Green is one of the best kids you'll be around. In the off season, he goes to the same church me and my wife go to, so we'll see him at church. He's hanging out with kids. He's a great kid. And just like a lot of these guys we're talking about, before obviously him being pinned the starting quarterback, he works his absolute tail off. I mean, it's in the wintertime. It's snowing outside. He's in the indoor, finding any receiver he can find to work on his throwing mechanics, work on what he's got to be working on. And no different summertime. All of a sudden, I'm up in my office, I'm watching film. It's later in the day. He's on the blue turf, throwing balls to receivers, working on his craft. He's not the starting quarterback at that time. He doesn't know if he's going to play 1 snap or 500, but he's working. And so that's the thing that it gives my heart a lot of joy for Taylor, is just seeing him not just all of a sudden, oh, now it's you guys need me now? All right, now I'm going to work. Now I'm going to do it. He was doing it when no one was watching. He was doing it when no one knew if he was going to play or not. And seeing him step into the role he is, and obviously seeing the success he has in the run and pass game, just seeing who he is and how he's growing, even as a leader, even being a redshirt freshman, it just gives me a ton of joy. And then, I mean, being able to have to game plan for Taylor Green and spring ball is already what I'm trying to think about, because he's a great player, and obviously and everyone around the O-line's doing a great job, tight ends, receivers, seeing it galvanize together and them doing some really good things is awesome.
Spencer, you guys played 4 games at home. It's 8 total second halves, 120 minutes. You allowed 3 points. What is the key to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple different things. I think the big thing is just, defensively, like we talked about, you live on that razor's edge. And so obviously we've given up some plays in the first half, which I take full responsibility of, but we have a great group of kids to where they can self-correct quickly. They can see, okay, that's what got me in the first half. That's what got me in the second quarter. And if it comes back again, maybe it's dressed up in a different formation, I'm going to work my tail off to not let it hit again. And so we just got a great group of guys that are really good at that. And then just as a coaching staff, being able to come together and say, okay, what is their plan against us? At that point, you have a good idea, okay, how are we being attacked? And what are either some answers that we have, what are some switch-ups we have schematically? But more than anything, it's our players being able to react and make plays. And our defense right now is playing extremely hard, not perfect. There's a lot of things in the Colorado State game, from explosive plays to different things that we gave up that we shouldn't. And it starts with me putting them in good spots, but our guys are playing hard. And so there's things that maybe aren't correct or not schematically exactly what you want that are covered up because guys are playing hard. They're getting the football. They're, we're getting 2-3 guys the ball every snap. And so that's something that we need to carry on. So I think as the game goes on, the relentlessness with which we play just continues to build up.
Last one. I don't know if anybody's asked us, what do you think impresses you most about BYU's offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're one of the most talented, explosive offense we've seen all year. And I say that without question. I think they're very well coached, a ton of respect for what they do there offensively. Every year we play them, they're an offense that you know is going to look at what's hurt us in the past, and they're going to find ways to dress it up different and attack us on Saturday night. So they do that really well. They've got really good personnel. They got a great offensive line. I think their quarterback's one of the best quarterbacks around. From his quarterback to interception ratio, he's mobile, he can run, he is tough, he gets hit, he jumps right back up. And they've got running backs and receiving core that even if you got them covered, they're going to find a way to come down with the ball. So we know we got our absolute hands full this weekend, and we're going to work our tails off to be ready for that game. Our players are up there right now studying to be ready for this game. But we know the challenge at hand, and they've put up points, and they've moved the ball on everybody they played. And they played a tough schedule up to this point. They played everybody. And so we know that we're ready for that challenge, but we obviously play in a very talented, well-coached, explosive offense, and our guys are going to work their tails off to be ready for that moment.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.